Happy Thursday, everybody. Today we are going to go over some techniques so you can better help regulate your emotions, as well as some techniques to build awareness in your trading so you can know yourself better and understand what triggers you so we can reduce the chances of tilt occurring. So no charts today, so you can put your charts away. Get 2 pieces of paper like this, and we're pretty much going to be breaking down the behavior and the path that it leads us down. Now, first and foremost, as I mentioned, we need to bring awareness when it comes to our trading, right? Now, what does that look like? We need to understand that when we take a losing trade or even a winning trade, because both sides of the spectrum, on the emotional spectrum when we're trading, is very dangerous. You can be really excited and happy, and you can be greedy and, let 200% go to 100% or zero or negative. Or you could take a losing trade and then you can go on tilt or a spiral and blow your account, which is what we definitely want to avoid. So one thing that you can do is record yourself. That way you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like when you start to get emotional, whether you're happy or upset or whatever it may be. Also, write down whatever thoughts come up when it comes to your trading, right? Like if you take a losing trade, if you start to get upset, what is the losing trade invoking in you? Like, what is it bringing out, right? Are you upset because you lost a trade because it's taking you further away from your goals, or because you lost money yesterday and you don't want to lose money today? Of course, there's like millions of reasons, but just take some time to sit down with yourself and really ask yourself, if I take a losing trade, why is that affecting me? Because a winning trade or losing trade, if you took it as your setup, it shouldn't invoke any emotional response for the most part, because it's just probability, right? You can't control what the market's doing. So be aware of what triggers you. Is that a losing trade? Is that a losing streak? Is that making a lot of money and then you give it all back? A lot of different things that we can look at. So with the 2 sheets of paper, what we can do is we're going to label one of them. I guess you could say this is the negative side, right? So label one side, losing trade on the top, and then you can make this pretty and print it out after you're done, but very important to write this down. So we're going to go through the sequence of events and the behaviors that happen after, something happens in your trading session, right? So first thing, of course, like I mentioned, you can just write down losing trade that we have here. And then you can just put an arrow under that for whatever the next behavior is that stems from that, right? So to give you an example, you lose a trade, you get upset, and you revenge trade. You just jump into another trade to get that money back, right? Obviously, we know that we shouldn't be doing that because you're just gambling at that point. So this can look differently for you than it may for me or other people. So just to give you guys kind of just like a little template. So you take a losing trade, your emotions come up, whatever that may be. You could be upset, you could be angry, whatever it is, you can write it down and write down the specific emotion that comes up for you. Once you get that, what happens next? Do you immediately get into another trade? Do you jump into another trade? Do you size up? Do you size down? Because that can also occur. And then after you size down or you size up and then you take the revenge trade, what happens after that? If you win a trade, let's say after that, do you continue trading? If you lose a trade, do you continue revenge trading, or do you continue going down the spiral until you lose thousands of dollars, or you blow an account, or whatever it may be? So map out whatever specifically happens to you. That way you are very clear on what it looks like, right? Because like I mentioned, we don't just lose a trade and then you blow the account. It's a sequence of events. It's specific behavior that we continue down. So for example, for me, let's say I lose a trade and then my emotions come up. And actually before my emotions come up, because your emotions happen after a physiological response. So what does that mean? that means physically we're going to be getting specific symptoms that may come out, right? So for me, let's say if I lose a trade or a trade is about to lose, or it's just taking too long for it to pan out from what I'm used to, I might start getting a little impatient, right? I might start feeling a little anxious. Or, I'll stop blinking and I'll just stare at the charts and see what's going on there. And I'll start gripping my mouse really tightly. And then my breathing gets shallow. Instead of like taking regular breaths, now I'm taking like shallower breaths from my upper, upper diaphragm. Anyway, your upper chest, to keep it simple. So once I start to notice that specific response in myself, I take a step back and I'm like, all right, what's going on, right? Like, why is this coming up? And from there, let's just say I don't take the time to take a step back. After I get that physiological emotional response, and then let's say I lose a trade. So now I lost a trade and I get upset. And instead of getting off the screen, I stay on the screen, continuously getting triggered by what's going on because, I'm feeding that into my vision and then, your brain, all those other things. And what ends up happening? Revenge trading, over leveraging, blowing accounts, which is what we want to avoid. So after you get your losing side down with what happens in the negative behavior or path that you want to avoid, what we're going to do next is make the first same prompt. So, losing trade on the top, and emotions pop up, or I start to get tunnel vision, I stop blinking, stop breathing properly. And instead of going down the emotional route where we don't use any emotional regulation techniques, well, what can we do instead? Emotions pop up, or you start to get the physiological response, anxiety, you start to sweat. For me, sweating is like the last step. If I start to sweat, I need to run out my house, because if I stay on the screens, it's going to be a disaster. So whatever that looks like for you, be very mindful of it. So your emotions come up on the, the positive behavior side, so we can switch from negative to bad behavior. So for me, what that looks like is, let's say if I lose a trade and, I go through the physical responses, my emotions start popping up. Instead of staying on the screen, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go to my balcony, to my room, or, somewhere else in the house that's not in front of my computer screen. Because if I stay there, I'm going to continue to get that feedback from the markets or the charts, and I'm going to stay in that state, which we do not want to stay in. So for me, I get up, I go to my balcony, somewhere in the house, start doing my breathing exercises. I close my eyes, do my breathing practices to just slow down the emotional process. Because as human beings, again, once we get that fight or flight, it's instantaneous that it happens. So we need to slow that down. And then after we slow that down, we talk ourselves down from whatever's going on, right? Let's say if I wanted to get back on and revenge trade because I lost money yesterday and I want to make that money back, or even the trade that I lost today that I want to make back. I understand that losing is part of the process as a trader, right? We cannot escape from losing trades. That's part of the process. I wish I could, but I cannot. If you find somebody who has, please let me know, because I want to learn from them. So once I do my breathing practices and I walk away from my desk, I'm more relaxed, I'm calm, and I'm in a more neutral state. I'll go back onto the charts, to my desk. And remember, my only job here is to take my setups, and that's it. Anything else is out of my control. So once I'm back into that neutral state, then I can get back to trading and understand that, going back with the trader's mindset, or the trader's mind, as Randy Howell calls it, I'm just here to take my setups, and whatever happens, that's up to the market. I can't control that, unfortunately. So by following the positive behaviors, we can avoid making the mistakes of revenge trading, giving all the money back that we made last week, last month, or whatever in one single trading day and what have you. And, reaching the goals that you want ultimately, right? Because with anything in life, there's always two different choices. Yeah, there could be 3 or 4, but for the sake of the conversation, whatever may happen to you in life or in trading, there's 2 responses that you can take. There's a positive one, and then there's a negative one. In trading, obviously, you can see what happens if you take a negative path. I've been there when I've lost a lot of money by revenge trading and doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing. And then, of course, you can take the route that's the positive side, doing your emotional regulation techniques, calming yourself down, talking yourself through these trades, the losing trades, the winning trades, whatever it may be, right? Where we can get a favorable result. Again, you can't control what the market is going to do, but you can control yourself. So if you're losing a lot of money because you are losing control, then you can take more action and take better control of yourself and, regulate yourself better. So besides breathing exercises and, kind of creating this behavioral map for yourself to kind of figure out, what do I need to do? What is happening right now that I can help avoid this or, to fix this? You can do this. As always, journaling is very, very important. Besides keeping a trading journal for your trades, it's also good to keep a journal regarding your, how you're feeling, your thoughts, all those other things. I had a student today that I was talking to, and he said that this morning he went on tilt because he was focused on the loss that he took yesterday. And you need to understand that what happened yesterday is irrelevant to today. Yesterday doesn't matter when it comes to trading today because that puts you in a bad spot. And I'll give you an example of what happened today with him, which I wish didn't happen. So he lost the first trade. His second, third, and fourth trade were winners, but he was on tilt. He was kind of revenge trading because he lost that initial trade, and he won those trades. The dangerous thing when it comes to getting rewards for bad behavior is that for the next time you go on tilt, you're going to be more lenient with yourself, where your mind is like, well, even though I lost these trades, or even though these trades weren't part of my setup or my process, I still made money. So when that opportunity happens again and you're on tilt, you might be like, well, I won the trade last time being on tilt. It's okay if I do it again because I'll probably make money. That is not sustainable. Don't do that. You do not reward bad behavior. So even if you make money off a bad trade or a bad performance trade, those are bad marks that you need to be mindful of and hold yourself accountable to. So map out your behaviors, journal your thoughts. Do not bring, what happened prior to a new trading session. Every trading session is different. On top of that, study emotional regulation techniques, breathing practices. Like I said, mapping out your behaviors and where they lead you to, so you can be more aware of that. A book that's really helpful that I've read recently is Change Your Mind by R.J. Spina. He has a great technique that he has his clients do, where you keep a little journal everywhere you go, and you write down every thought that comes up. And you go down the list of the thought, or down the what's the word that I can't think of? You go down the steps through the thought process. So let's say, for the sake of the conversation, trading related, you lose a trade. All right, cool. You lose a trade. It makes me upset. All right. Why does it make me upset? It makes me upset because I lost money last week and I don't want to lose more money. All right. Why does it make you upset that you lost money last week? Well, if I continue to lose money, it's going to take me even longer to make the money I lost back, or it's going to take longer for me to, quit my job if I want to be a full-time trader, whatever it may be regarding, your thoughts and process. And then you just continuously go down the thought process or the thought chain and get to the root cause of whatever is causing you to get that emotional response, right? Because again, a winning trade, losing trade, if you took your setup, it doesn't matter. We need to really understand what triggers that and what brings out these emotional responses. So definitely check out that book and these other practices. I'll put some videos in the description that you guys can check out to help. And as always, if this was helpful, definitely let me know in the comments so I can make more content like this. And that's all I have for today. So get to it, study, know yourself better, and improve every day.